in the past few weeks, what has really become apparent to me is the difference between having some sort of vague notion or some sort of ambiguous support for the idea of equality and actively being committed to being anti-racist. And when I say that, I mean that you are going out of your way to take the steps to amplify Black voices, to give opportunities to Black people who wouldn't necessarily have opportunities, to speak up for Black people when they're not necessarily in rooms or when they don't have the opportunity to speak up for themselves, and to ensure that you are actually actively contributing to stopping racism or undoing some of the things that we've seen hold Black people back for generations and generations and generations. And I think that it's very easy to, on an abstract level, say that you're for racial equality, but actually when it comes to going out of your way or doing what might be inconvenient, you see that it's a lot more difficult than people understand or that people are willing to accept. And for me, when I think about it, particularly from the Christian point of view, I think about Christ and how he went out of his way to advocate for people. He went out of his way to speak up for those who are marginalized, even to his own detriment, and to the point when it was inconvenient for him. And this idea of advocating for the voiceless or the marginalized or the oppressed, it's something that God cares deeply about. He cares about justice. He's a just God. And I think that you can't necessarily opt into caring about some issues or not other issues. And it's not a matter of, oh, if you are the victim of something, that's what should move you to action. No, the very fact that something is unjust, that is unrighteous, that you see injustice happening, that should be what spurs you on to act, and that should be what drives you. And yes, I think to a large extent it can be very tiring. We've seen that there's a lot of fatigue that's going around, and I think that that is, you know, the constant struggle or the constant effort of Christians is to be in a state of self-interrogation, to ask ourselves, how are we best representing Christ? Where can we be doing more? And asking for the grace and the power to be able to do those things. And so my personal view, unless people really step up to being actively anti-racist as opposed to just, you know, thinking that if I don't do this and I don't do this and I don't do this, then the label of racist won't apply to me. Why don't we flip it the other way and think about the things that you can be doing, the things that you can actively be going to do, not just passively doing. And without that, I don't think we're going to see the levels of progress that we really need. Thank you for watching. Let's keep the conversation alive.